back to normal routine. Welcome back to the channel. Another Talking Head stream. It is Wednesday. It's the 40k show. We're back to normal routine. We're actually back to normal routine because some good news, people. The light in the studio, and when I say studio, I mean our garage, has been repaired today. So tomorrow we will be back with another game of 10th edition, and you'll all get to see Joe's beautiful face as he comes and plays. And I think he's on about bringing his Raven Guard as well. So look forward to that tomorrow. Joe will be back on the screen playing 40k, playing 10th edition. Something's going right. We're back on the up. Now, if you watched last night's stream, firstly, thank you. That video has done surprisingly well. I didn't necessarily expect to see quite so many people in chat last night, nor did I expect to see such a reaction for it after the fact. So it's continuing to generate views, it's continuing to generate subscribers, it's continuing to generate conversation. There's been lots of comments. However, I was also conscious that it was a bit of a rant, a bit of a moan, a bit of a whine, and a bit negative. And as you always know, or as most of you know, I don't typically love to be negative all the time. It's not something I want to do. I don't want to turn into one of those channels who is always negative. So I was like, this is clearly a hot topic. Clearly people are interested in this. Clearly people have opinions. So what can we do with the show to make it not quite so negative, but still talk about this particular topic, okay? And so what we're going to do instead to talk about this particular topic is we're going to talk about my 5 hot fixes for 10th edition. The things I think that need to come in pretty sharpish to improve the player's experience for everybody. There is one of these hot fixes which I think is maybe significantly more difficult and highly more unlikely to be done. But on the whole, I don't think that the other 4 at least are completely out of the question.
Liam.
She really doesn't get the Liam thing, Steve, but thank you so much for the 10. Before I jump into that though, thank you so much for the donations while you're here. Before I jump into that though, I'm going to ask you all, as normal, to hit all those magical YouTube buttons. Last night we hit 500 likes on the stream before we even went off stream, which was absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for everybody who supported the stream last night. You guys are all amazing. And if you want to support the stream in other ways, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can become a member. You can choose to spend your own hard-earned cash every single month on a membership. You can come hang out in Discord. You can look at all your different benefits. You can get involved in giveaways. You can get behind-the-scenes content. You can get WhatsApp chats depending on the level you pick. That's one way. You can gift memberships like the incredible Nordos. Thank you so much for the gifted membership, you hero. What a legend. I love you. Gifting every single stream at least once. You're amazing. Thank you. So that's another thing that you can do. And then what you can do, like some crazy people have already done quite a lot of, is you can super chat. You can put your ideas on big colourful postcards. And as you've heard, if they're $10 or more, Amy will read them out to me. Incredible. Thank you so much to Magnus Did Nothing Wrong, who dropped somewhere in the region of nearly $50 before the stream even started. We're going to read those quickly now because he's already donated them. He's amazing. This is part 1. What up, fam? Been playing Death Guard since 5th, and despite my name, they are truly my favourite faction. I have over 10,000 points built, painted, and magged. I have 3 Dreadclaws I converted from the drop pod and the Spore Cyst kit. That's incredible, by the way. It's amazing. Part 2. Why is our theme lethal hits while having no rerolls to hit? I think really Morty's ignore all mods rule should be added to the army rule and give him back pick a unit for chapter master rerolls in command phase. Don't necessarily disagree with you there either. And then he says, PS, or part 3, sorry, I have a lot more I could go on about, but whatever. I'm going to inexorably play through it with a smile on my face to make G Daddy Nurgle proud. Picking up Plague Marines by the handful is cheeks. I mean, it's amazing you're happy to just keep going, man, as well. What an absolute legend. What a hero. Thank you so much, Dwight of the Dead, for becoming a Hasir, and Dan Nitz for becoming a Hasir too. You guys are amazing. And thank you, Kanja, for gifting a single membership. Do you want me to unmute you? I didn't think you were going to come and hang out tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in the shower, and then I was like, oh, but then if I jump in the shower now, then I'll need to wash my hair, and if I do that, then I'll have to blow dry it, and then I'll get like cow's lick thing because the humidity. So do I wash my hair today? Should I just wash it tomorrow? And this whole dialogue goes on.
First world problems, eh?
Yeah.
First world problems. Thank you, Zena, for the gifted 5. You are also an absolute hero and a legend. Right, I was grabbing my phone. I looked rude then because I was looking down. I was grabbing my phone because I've already written my 5 points out, and I discussed them briefly with our resident rules guru, Eduardo. And I messaged Eddie last night and said, hey, I want to do something positive. I want to talk about my 5 biggest changes for 10th edition 40k, the things that I think we should do to fix the game, okay? I'm going to warn you already, like I said, part 5 is something that almost definitely not going to do, but I feel like it's a hot fix. We're going to go into them, okay? So we're going to have a brief discussion, mainly coming from me, about my 5 biggest fixes for 10th. And then what we're going to do is, as we always do, we're going to jump in chat. We'll talk to you people about what's going on or what you guys think needs to be a fix, okay? Of course, as usual, like I said, if you stick your big colourful postcard in at $10 or more, she'll interrupt me. You can interrupt me, that's fine. I don't have to put my hand up now. You'll notice I fixed my speakers.
And how did you fix your speakers?
My speakers have a little speaker dock that sits on top of my desktop where there's a little touchpad to turn it on and off, right? And what it also has is a little black wheel for the volume, okay? And I don't ever use that little black wheel for the volume. I only ever use my Stream Deck. And I don't know if I can show you. No, I can't show you because the wire's not long enough. But on my Stream Deck, I've got it programmed to turn the volume of my computer up, turn the volume of my computer down, and mute it, okay? Right, that's fine. Not a problem, okay? On Monday, as part of my getting ready to come back to work on Tuesday thing, I say come back to work, I mean, start making content and streaming, all that kind of stuff, and prepping other things and looking at merchandise and blah. I organised and cleaned my desk, which included a nice desk polish, because it's a nice wooden desk. And I get my polish and my little rag out and I clean everything. I dust everything, because I fucking hate dust. And I wipe down all my screens, and I wipe down the top of all the screens, and I wipe down my audio deck, and I wipe down everything. All the dust comes off everything. I also wipe the dust off of that little module. And then wiping the dust off the module, what I might have done is wound that little black volume controller all the way down to 0.
Yeah.
There's no indication anywhere. It doesn't show you this. It just goes to 0. And for ages last night after the stream, I was like, why the fuck aren't these speakers working? Why can't I get them to work? This is so annoying. And I was like, I wonder. As I turned it up, the volume came back. It's all right, chat.
And
they weren't broken. I had just turned the volume to 0. I had spent clearly too much time playing with my knob. No sound came out.
The best bit is that didn't even happen on your own. Somebody witnessed that stupidity.
Someone did witness that stupidity. That's why Luce was going to make sure I was held to account in front of you people, and I couldn't come up with an excuse. She wanted to make sure I was being honest, of course. Because
Keeping you honest.
Anyway, thank you for the gifted people. There's 7 gifted. Oh, I haven't set. Oh no. I haven't set. Now I'm going to have to watch my horrible face as I try and type things with my keyboard, because I haven't actually set up my membership bot for this particular stream, because I was running late because I was in meetings from 6 until 8 about important things that I can't tell you about just yet. But I was in meetings. I need to add 7 to that number there, which is that number there. So that's 1, 0, 3, 6.
Oh, Super Ready says classic picnic error.
What's that?
Picnics in capitals. Is that person in control, not in
Keep talking,
charge?
because I'm busy.
Is that it? Picnic, person in control, not in charge.
I don't know what that means.
It's in capitals. It must mean something. What's picnic, Soups?
Okay, good. Right, okay, perfect. I've fixed my membership bot. So now I can add it when you people add. Anyway, thank you so much. Here's Horace, there's Horace. Everyone's Horace for 2 for the spectacles fun. Brilliant. Thank you. Steve, thank you for the 5. Thank you for the rant last night. It's cathartic for me. I'm very angry still about Horus Heresy plus Badab, war characters being legends. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. And Alex, thank you for the 2. You didn't say anything though, but thank you anyway, right? Liam played with his knob the wrong way. That's exactly what happened. Right, okay, so I have my 5 biggest fix. I could keep reading all your super chats out because you guys are amazing. If you could match last night, by the way, incredible, because at the moment, okay, hang on.
Okay, so picnic is problem in chair, not in computer.
Oh, okay.
So they're all calling you an idiot.
They are. This chat is what my cooker currently looks like. That's right. I don't have one right now. So currently the super chat's a takeaway fund. They took my cooker away because it's broken. We don't have a cooker. And the top part that you see is still on there. Can you see it? Is it still on there? The top part that's on there? It's not focusing on me. It's focusing on the Lego. That's interesting. The hobs that are on there also don't work. So that's just a placeholder right now. It's fine. It's Wednesday. We're going to keep going. I didn't order my mead. You didn't remind me.
Well, it is my day off. I've spent my day off being therapy for another person. I must just have the face for it. That people just confide in me, which is lovely. But all the while, I'm trying to leave the house to go and pursue my day off.
Good thing I didn't contribute to the new speaker fund.
Good thing, Tony, indeed. Thank you for the 10. You're a hero. What a legend. Come on, Dwight, you come through. We'll talk about my 5 biggest hot takes.
Yo dude found you after seeing you on Titians. You're pretty funny every once in a while. So here's a membership and $10.
You were great on Titians.
Every once in a while, I'm pretty funny. Not normally, just once in a blue moon. Thank you so much, Dwight of the Dead. You're a hero. Those guys over at Titans are incredible. So thank you for finding us there as well, by the way. If you guys aren't subscribed to Tabletop Titans, they're amazing people. They make great content. Go check them out. But thank you so much for the 10 as well. Thank you for not only finding me via Titans, but still coming and hanging out after the fact. Okay, you're amazing. Right, top 5 hot takes. Top 5 changes required for 10th edition to make this somewhat more of an enjoyable game. And I'm not saying it's not an enjoyable game on the whole right now, but there are certain parts of it, there are certain experiences you can have that can make it less enjoyable. The first one that I've got on my list of top 5 hot takes is towering. Towering needs to change. Towering, as it currently is a keyword attributed to some of the bigger models, for example, Imperial Knights, and essentially means that you just always use true line of sight no matter what. From and to towering models. And it's the first part of that last part that's the problem. From and to. So a towering model with a piece of terrain between it does not care whether that terrain is old school obscuring or not. Doesn't give a shit. It can see you, so it can shoot you. The same is true of the reverse. If you are an infantry model behind that piece of terrain and you can see a towering model, you can shoot it. That's slightly different if you're talking about someone like, for example, Angron, who's a Primarch who doesn't have towering. Now, you might be able to naturally see Angron with a piece of terrain in between, but because of that piece of terrain essentially now being obscuring, you can't shoot at him. Not the case for Imperial Knights. Now, the problem isn't the fact that models can see Imperial Knights with that piece of terrain in the way. The problem is the reverse. It basically means that to some extent, Imperial Knights have kind of permanent indirect. They just need true natural line of sight and they can shoot at you with no penalty. And that's a problem because Knights are incredibly durable. They're very tough. They have a lot of damage output and insane amounts of firepower. And what they can do right now is they can just stomp across the battlefield and flatten everything they can see. So towering for me needs to change. That's the first one. And the way that I would change it, very simplistically, you just draw true line of sight to towering, but towering follows the normal line of sight rules when shooting at other units. Okay? That's the first thing I would do. So towering with terrain in between then won't be able to shoot at said infantry on the other side of the piece of terrain, giving the infantry some kind of protection from the towering model. Okay? It's the first thing that I would do, right? Change number 2, and this is one that I see hotly discussed in the in all of the communities at the moment. Points. We don't have points right now. We have power. We have power that's called points, that they're using different numbers. We don't have points. We have power. Power was a system that existed in both 8th and 9th edition that I think on the whole no one really ever used. There were some edge cases, people used them on occasions, but on the whole we didn't see power being used at all and everyone fucking hated it. And people like, in 40k, the granularity of points. Do you know why a last cannon and a heavy bolter can't be the same points? Because they're not the same weapon. They do different things. Okay, so points need to change. Here's another thing, we spoke about this yesterday. Death Guard come in units of 7 in the box, but you can only now buy them in squads of 5 or 10. So if you take your unit of 7, build and paint all 7 of them and deploy them on the tabletop, you're paying for 10 points wise, despite only being able to field 7. You'll need multiple boxes actually to do multiple units of 5 and or 10. So points need to change, and I think we need to go back to a per model basis. And honestly, I think on the whole, we need to have some kind of war gear discrepancy points wise. I'm not saying that every single piece of individual war gear needs to necessarily be pointed. There are occasions where, for example, if I think about Sacrosantes from the Adeptus Sororitas, and I look at the halberd and I look at the mace, I often can't decide which one I'd rather have. If that's the case, having them the same number of points is not a problem. That's perfectly fine because I cannot decide which one I want to take. That means they're a balanced weapon option. But if you're talking about a Razorback with twin link last cannons, twin link heavy bolters, or twin link whatever the hell else it can take, guess what? At the moment, I'm only ever taking twin link last cannons because it's just flat better than any other option, and now they all cost the same. If, however, the twin heavy bolters are baked into the points cost and twin last cannons are plus 30 points, now I have an option. Now I have a choice to make. I think we need the granularity of points back in 10th edition. I think they've tried something, and I already think that this is not something that's been well received, and I think it's not something that's necessarily going to work. And I really hope they go, this was probably a mistake, because all we've got right now is dressed up power, and I hated power. I don't like the AOS point system. I can see why they've done it. I understand the simplified, not simple. I understand it's probably easier for the app. But let's face it, Battlescribe coped with individual points costs for weapons and upgrades and stuff, didn't it? So surely GW can get it right. Point number 3, specific to a single faction, Fate Dice. There's a couple of things you can do with Fate Dice right now, but Fate Dice are currently probably the strongest mechanic in the game and absolutely busted and broken. There's one of two things I would do. Either I would start to restrict the use of Fate Dice to the exact same as Sister's Miracle Dice, so that they're not super broken, and you can't just spunk 6 Fate Dice of 6s on one D cannon to make sure you hit both times, you wound both times, and you do maximum damage in Overwatch with a D cannon against anything that's charging you for just the odd cheeky 18 mortal wounds, okay? That's the first thing I would do, is I would change Fate Dice to that. Or the other thing you can do is you could bring in the old system, roll 6, keep 4. They correlate to certain types of rolls. It's back to old Fate Dice that we all understood and love. Still could work with people like Eldrad's ability. Guess what? You get 3 more on turn 1, but you still only keep 4, but you get more variety. And Guardians let you roll another one, and maybe you add that one to your pool and you get 5. Things like that, they still work. They can still work in coherency with the old Fate Dice rule, but we need the old Fate Dice rule back as well, in my opinion. Point 4. This is a big one. Indirect. I don't know why they changed it. They basically got it right in 9th edition. It was -1 to your ballistic skill, and it was essentially -1 AP. You got +1 to your saving throw. Okay? Now you get the benefit of cover, and it's -1 to the hit roll. So now, with things like guard orders, you can give it +1 ballistic skill. You then get -1 to hit. You then give it +1 to hit. You basically completely ignore indirect. And if it's got heavy, which is +1 to hit, why would you ever give an indirect weapon heavy? Hey, guess what? Stay still, and you get to basically negate the whole point in indirect anyway. It needs to go back to -1 ballistic skill, okay? That needs to happen, as far as I'm concerned. It also needs to go back to not getting the benefit of cover, but +1 to the saving throw. That's what needs to happen with indirect, as far as I'm concerned, right? Because indirect currently is a bit mental. And then finally, point number 5, we're racing through this chat. Point number 5, this is the one that I told you, remember, I don't think they're going to do. But there are 2, maybe even 3 indexes that, quite frankly, they should put in the bin. They should discard them, and they should just rewrite them. 2 guaranteed are Death Guard and AdMech. I don't see ways of fixing them right now. They need to scrap them and start them again and do them properly. And the third one, potentially, is the Leagues of Votann. I don't think they're sat quite as bad as Death Guard or as AdMech, but I do think that they need to be looked at because they're not great, okay? Other factions are still suffering. If we look at Tau, they're not doing anywhere near as good as they used to. If we look at Sisters, they don't really have anything above Strength 12 unless it's a ranged weapon, which is a one-use only missile. They do have Strength 12, but it's a melee-only mace that doesn't really have any AP. There are other factions that are struggling as well, but those ones particularly are in a bad way, and I think they need some significant addressing. Now, GW being GW, we can almost guarantee in the very near future that if anything is in fact too powerful, a la Imperial Knights or Eldar, maybe even Thousand Sons, I think we will absolutely see them nerf them a little bit and bring them into line and bring them down. But typically they've not done great things with taking terrible armies and bringing them up. And I'm actually significantly concerned that Death Guard and AdMech are just going to feel nothing but pain for at least the next 6 months. At least. And there'll be players out there with these armies that are just not having a good time. That's my top 5 hot fixes. 5 is a bone of contention with me. I wasn't necessarily going to put it in, but I think it wasn't. I think it needed to be addressed. And when I say that, it's because honestly, there's a ton of other fixes we could talk about. We could talk about the reintroduction of certain Forge World units for armies like Chaos. We could talk about how the character system currently works and how keywords integrate with each other. We could talk about how it works with bodyguards. We could talk about lots of things there, right? But they're my 5 biggest at the moment. They're the ones that I think are the most important. And if we specifically take the first 4, I also don't think they're that hard to implement. I think they're all things that we could, in fact, do to make this game slightly better than it currently is. Interestingly, what I did then is I had a look at the GT that I think it is. It went on in Germany last weekend, I think it might have been. I can't remember for definite. Maybe it's this weekend. I think it was last weekend. Who put in a load of house rules? Guess what? They changed indirect. Guess what? They changed towering. They changed a couple of things that I've already talked about. So clearly this is not just me who thinks these things are a problem. However, this is the 40k show. It wouldn't be the 40k show if we didn't hear what you guys thought was the problem, and you told me whether one you agree with me or whether you think I'm wrong or whatever. Like, I want to know. But at the moment, Imperial Knights walk around completely unimpeded, flattening everything. That's a problem. If they were as vulnerable as they were in 9th edition, or their firepower wasn't as powerful as it currently is, cool. Towering's fine, but they're significantly more durable and they kick out a ton of more damage. That's a problem now. Number 2, what was number 2? Points. I don't understand. I kind of tried to get on board with it. Now I've tried to use it. I hate it. I don't like the point system. Number 3, fate dice. I mean, we all know that one's a problem. 4, indirect. I don't think people can argue with. And Talon, Death Guard and Admech. Poor people. Poor people. And breathe. We're good.
And that's the 40k show. Good night,
Yeah, we're
everyone.
done. Night, people. 20 minutes. Job done. Quickest stream. No, I'm joking. So we're going to jump into chat because you people are incredible. Thank you, Benjamin Dutson, for the 350. Ready, set, salt. Here it comes. There's no salt. I'm trying to be positive. This is the things I want to do to fix the game. That's all I care about right now. Look, let's face it, right? 10th is here. 10th is here to stay. 10th is not going to go away. I had one person in my comment section from last night's video say, creators are part of the problem because they're all playing 10th edition. You should say, no, don't play 10th edition, play 9th edition. But the problem is we're in a bit of a situation right now, okay? If I play 9th edition, guess what? No one's coming to watch my fucking streams. I end up with an audience like Hellstorm, 3 people, and 2 of them is my parents. It's not worth it. So I need to play 10th edition to be current because that's my job. Doesn't mean we can't talk about 10th edition, though, where we think there's problems and errors and issues and where we think we can solve them. So today's a positive stream, chat, right? We want to talk about how we solve these things.
So,
Not what's wrong, but how we solve it.
So you wanted to know if people disagreed with you?
Yeah.
So Pip says, the problem is that models can be seen too. There's no way to make knights decent when they can be shot without reply. And then later says...
No pressure. We're all waiting for you.
riveting stuff, isn't it?
Huh?
Oh, chat, stop moving.
Alex, thank you for the 2. I think we already did that one.
So number wrong is fully wrong. Screwing big models over is not a good change.
We're not screwing them over, though.
As a voting player, it actually doesn't bother me if the army isn't good. They just seem to have zero fluff or fun rules, which fucking sucks. Keep us shit but make it fun to play at least.
She swore.
She said it.
Oh my god.
Been loving my games of 10th and loved watching you hang with Titans. For this edition, just want my Inquisition units to be able to get in a transport. Not a single retinue unit can. Bring back authority of the Inquisition.
I thought there was a rule in there, Brennan, that they could. That's interesting.
I don't feel you are wrong, but I don't think it is a problem. It becomes a problem if the game is not fixed quickly.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, we're not... So back to Pip's point that you said, we're not screwing over big models by saying that like intervening terrain is obscuring hides the individual model from the knight, but then the individual model can shoot at the knight. Because the durability of vehicles and the durability of armor in this edition has significantly increased. Supposedly, Games Workshop. But we also can't be in a position where knights can just walk around nailing... So you either just remove towering altogether, or you come up with something that just means that they can't walk around with complete impunity shooting at everything on the tabletop. Because at the moment, if a competent knight player rocks up with a competent knight list, depending on what... Unless you're playing Eldar, maybe 1 or 2 other factions like Thousand Sons, possibly maybe Necrons, I'm not sure. Guess what? That knight player just flattens you. He just flattens you, Pip. And you say ruining those big models is bad.
My problem with 40k now is Eldar. They are stronger than almost any other army right now. My biggest issue is that my commission of an sweet-looking army isn't done yet, so I can't curb stomp people.
Oh, Steve, first of all, problems.
I usually agree with you, but if terrain ignores my knights should ignore terrain.
See, this is the problem, Robert, right? I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't got the solution spot on, but we can't have it as it is. That's the problem, right? We can't have it where knights on the table can just, in the first 2 turns, flatten an opponent's complete army without any return. So genuinely, maybe the answer is we just flat remove towering, right? Maybe that's what we do, because they're crazy good right now. They're just unbelievably good right now, and they can rock up to mid-table and they can see basically everything because they also have the move to do that, and they can just flatten everything they look at, right? Anyway, But I appreciate the conversation, though, people. That's important as well. Ed, thank you for the 5. So what you're saying is you have polished your knob too hard. That's exactly what I did. Yes, absolutely. Hang on. Demo Gorgon, thank you so much for becoming a Jarl tier. You're a hero. John Boy, thank you for gifting 5. Mr. Adder for gifting 1. Rimley for gifting 10. Another 16 memberships there. Thank you so much. Seymour Butts, thank you for the 5. What about Fate Dice not generating a critical hit? I.e., they don't give dev wounds. They're just a normal 6, basically a modified hit roll. So here's another change that someone has suggested to me that I actually quite liked, but it didn't make my top 10, my top 5 even. And that was the fact that things like devastating wounds only ever trigger off an unmodified roll, and that's it. An unmodified roll. And they then suggested that rerolls could be classified to some extent as modifiers, and there's other things that were talked about. Don't know how I feel about that, but basically 6s rolled is the only way you could do it. So Fate Dice don't trigger them, Miracle Dice don't trigger them, nothing else triggers them. You have to roll the dice, you have to get that 6. Okay, that's what they suggested. But yeah, I'm not against that either, right? Critical hits and critical wounds off of Fate Dice probably shouldn't trigger. Currently they do. That's part of the problem. Tristan, thank you for the 5. Turn towering effects into weapon keywords like heavy. Carapace weapons should be able to hit from above the roof. That's part of the Night Fantasy. I'm not against it. What I'm saying is it's not. It's when we talk about my top 5 hot fixes, that's one of the things that needs to be fixed. Okay, one of the things that 100% needs to be fixed is towering, because towering as it is mental right now. Liberty Fires, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Oh my god, you people already kicking off, right? We went through Brennan, Liberty Fires and Ginger Steve. Super chat, you guys are heroes. Danny Smith, thank you for the 5. GW just needs to get off the D6. The reason they make 3,450 reroll rules is you don't have enough design space to make units different when using D6s. I mean, factually, you're not wrong. Adding in, say, a D12 system would give them significantly more variability in dice rolling and allow them to more accurately represent what models and units can do narratively, right? Which means that a Space Marine can still hit on a 3 on a D12, and then maybe a Guardsman hits on a 6 and an Orc hits on a 7 or whatever, right? I agree with you, but I think the problem GW have is 40k has been so fundamentally a D6 game for so long. In fact, GW in general have predominantly been a D6 game for so long, I actually can't see them ever coming away from the D6 system, because I think the D6 system is just inherently fundamentally 40k. I don't think they'll change. So, although I agree with you, Danny, I do agree with you in terms of one of the problems and why they have so many rerolls is because of the D6 system. I also never see them coming away from it. Twilight's Death, thank you for the 5. If Towering's broken, where is Chaos Knights? Change terrain on the table and nerf Imperial Knights, which are far stronger than Chaos Knights. So Imperial Knights are far stronger than Chaos Knights. They just are. But I don't necessarily think that that's... I think Towering is also included as part of the problem for Knights in general. I still don't think Chaos Knights are terrible. I think Chaos Knights are still a bit of a problem. And Towering isn't just about Imperial Knights. It's the example I've used, but Towering on a Wraith Knight is also a problem right now. And don't get me wrong, that's partly linked to the fact that they also have access to Fate Dice that causes a problem. But Towering's still an issue. I think most of the scene out there has identified that Towering's a bit of an issue. Robert, thank you for the 10, and thank you for your first ever super chat, by the way. You're amazing. I know, we've talked about that one already.
100% right. Bring back the HH units. Their excuse is garbage. Even for SM, balancing isn't hard. They made the sheets. Balancing is just changing points based off how often they win competitively.
Which, to be fair, Stephen, is significantly easy to do in terms of balance if you're balancing all of the things on the data sheet. Weapon profiles, the model cost itself, etc. But that's not what happens right now. It's a flat cost no matter what. So balancing everything is more difficult right now. I feel like... Okay, one of my points was changing points. Point 2 was changing points back to original. I feel like GW have made their lives significantly harder in this next edition for balancing. Balancing in 9th edition did come in the way of the erratas and updates, and we did see Chapter Approved come out with, well, I can't remember what they used to call it, but we used to have the balanced data slate, that's the one, and we saw the balanced data slate every 6 months, which would change some of the rules. For example, Harlequin Luck dice changed significantly, and other things were both changed then removed, and core was given to Necron units, and core was taken away from AdMech units and then given back to AdMech units. They were doing some little rules changes here and there. But one of the biggest things they did to balance throughout the whole of 9th edition was adjust points. Sometimes for the whole unit or the model, sometimes for specific weapons. The specific weapons are updated points-wise. And we're in a position right now where that's just not possible. Because an Imperial Knight I don't know. Let's a Castellan, a Valiant. Okay, a Valiant is a Valiant cost. That's it. There is no variability in that at all. Whether you take 2 Siegebreaker cannons or 2 of the missile racks, there is no variety there. That's what a Valiant costs. Full stop. A guard squad of 10 guardsmen with no upgrades is points X. If you take that same guard squad and you add a melter gun and you add a plasma gun and you add a voxcaster, guess what? It's the same points, but it can do different things. This is a problem. A Havoc squad of 5 chain cannons is whatever the points is, and the same squad with 4, of course, 4 chain cannons, because you can't put one on a sergeant, because why would you better do that? And the same squad with just last cannons is the same points, despite the fact that right now you probably won't see anyone taking chain cannons and you'll see lots of people taking las cannons. I'm pissed off. I've got like 12 Lehman Russes, right, with no side sponsons on because they have forever costed more points and I didn't like the aesthetic and I wanted to keep them off to save points. Now they're all free. It's a problem. That's the problem. Okay. Right. Anyway, back into the rest of the super charts. So Rambo, thank you for the 2. Gym session when I'm down your way in August. Oh God, no. That sounds awful. Josh, thank you for the 5. It seems like the middle is okay except for assault armies, but the top and bottom of the pile need averaging out. They absolutely do. I agree with you. Primal Warfrog, thank you. Oh, in a minute.
Indirect and Overwatch. You should have to see the target to shoot at them.
Agree. Also would help fix indirect that. Seb, 100% agree. Primal Warfrog, thank you for the 5. Played against Knights with Necrons, played without towering. Game felt very balanced. Votan are currently mini Custodes. I agree with 1 to 5. Thank you so much, man. You're a hero. So what do we say, chat? We just remove towering? Is that a thing we can do? What do you reckon? Genuinely keen. What do you reckon? Thank you both, Steve and Seb, for the 10. And Christian, yours is about to come out. Seb, thank you for your first ever super chat from Seb. You're amazing.
Woo, woo, woo.
But the thing is as well, this is my limited experience. I'm also aware that I get significantly more exposure to the game.
Liam has the game outgrown GW Basic Original Game. I keep doing this because I get free membership. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Christian. I mean, what you could do if you really wanted to, Christian, is you could just upgrade to Jarl tier and you wouldn't get free membership anymore. And you get access to a giveaway every month. I'm just saying, there's that option too. There's that option too, right? Now, I have to add a caveat to what I've just spoke about for the last half an hour, okay? I have my opinions. I probably play more 40k than most people in the chat just because it's my job. And so I probably have skewed opinions compared to what the every person feels. A couple of you may have played 1 or 2 games of 10th and be like, what's this fucking idiot on about? The games I've played so far, it's not caused any problems whatsoever. Maybe that is actually the case. Maybe I've just played in certain circumstances where it is actually a real problem. Maybe the terrain wasn't good enough. Maybe my opponent was just better than me. Who knows? So I'm not saying that these are things that must happen. This is what I'm saying I think we should do. And I'm open to discussion about it. Like, if you think, hey, your 1 to 5 are all terrible, this is what I should do, let me know. If you think 1 is awful, like Pip's already told us, let me know. And you know what? I'm not going to go, I'm wrong, but I'm also most definitely not going to go, I'm right. I'm here to have a conversation about it. And I think by having open, honest, positive discussions about these things, this is how we kind of get to a point where we think we might be able to fix this problem. We've obviously proven already that the minds of the majority are clearly better at fixing this game than GW on their own. They have kind of showcased that they can't really fucking do it. That's what happens when they remove playtesters. 10th edition's born, right? And so, talk to me. Tim, thank you for the 5. Stop hating Knights. I've just used my Element gift voucher to buy a Dominus for my sister's army. I don't hate... This is... Okay, Tim. I don't hate Knights. I fucking love Knights. I started a Knights army for 10th edition before I read the index cards. This is as far as I've got, and I built this one instead of the Valiant because of the index cards. And now I'm like, well, I don't know if I can play them at the moment without just an immense amount of feels bad for people. This was supposed to be... We've got a Knights army for the channel that Brom plays. This is supposed to be the for me army that I could just get to play with for fun.
Brom has another army besides Space Marines.
Brom has a couple of armies that he plays. He turns up with every now and again.
I literally always see him with the Space Marines.
Yeah, because we were trying to get him to learn the rules for at least one army. And he still hasn't done that. I swear, the first time he turns up in 10th edition, he's probably going to play 9th still. That's Brom.
9th or
yeah,
9th?
9th, the old edition. So I literally bought... This is the thing. When everyone's like, you hate Knights. I don't hate Knights. I fucking love Knights. They're one of my favourite factions. I love the knightly kind of feel. I love the medieval vibe to it. I love the bondsman ability that they've come in with. I love the idea of an armiger and a big knight hunting together. I love that kind of stuff. I want knights to work. I really want knights to work. But at the moment, I feel like I can't really play them without a bit of feels bad. So, what do we do? Right?
Let's all just play Monopoly. We know where we're at with Monopoly. They never change it.
I mean, I think Monopoly causes more fights than 40k, babe, to be fair. Neil Adams, thank you for the 2. Bring back Demon Hammer's sad Grey Knight face. Yeah, this is the other thing as well, right? When we go back to the points, we're going to bounce between all of my 5 options here, right? When we go back to talking about points, I feel like one of the reasons why Space Wolves on Thunderwolves lost Thunderhammers, and Wolfen lost their claws and their hammers, and Vanguard Vets lost their weapon options, and certain Grey Knight units lost their hammer. The reason why all these things happened, was simply because of points. How do we make sure that hammers and shields on Wolfen aren't completely busted compared to the axes and the claws, and so everybody only ever takes the hammers? I know what we'll do. We'll neuter one of the weapon options, and that way the points can just be the same. How do we make sure that, for example, Vanguard Vets weapon options aren't an issue? Well, we'll just call them heirloom weapons. We'll give them all the same profile. Then it literally doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter what you put on your model because they're all the same points. So in inventing this new point system, they've now also had to remove certain flavour from the game to make that point system work. Right? And that's not great for the edition in general, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Legio Panda, thank you for the 100 whatever that... I mean, I don't want to say it, but it literally says 100 arse. Isn't it? What's 100 arse? I didn't know you could pay an arse. I've never bought anything in arse. No playtesting, an awful release date. 40k turned into a AAA game so quick we didn't realise we're past the point of singularity, people. It's not entirely untrue. Ben, thank you for the 350. I definitely agree with infantry getting cover. It just needs to be something. Okay, and you know, Pip, to a point, Pip's right. If you put the game into a position where an Imperial Knight just simply can't shoot at anything and everything can shoot at it, yeah, of course, that's not the desired impact. That's not the desired effect. That's not what I'm going for, and that's not how we fix the problem. And I'm sure there's fixes that I will suggest at points which will turn the game from here all the way over to here, which is still a problem. And what we need is it somewhere in the middle. We need someone here, right? We need it not to be the two extremes. Okay, we need somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the happy medium. And exactly how that looks, I don't really know. But we need to do something to get to that happy medium, I think. Because it's not right. Towering's not right as it is. I don't care what you say. Maybe my idea is wrong, but I don't care what you say. Towering's currently broken. It's currently broken. There's no if, buts, ands, or maybes currently. And the thing is, although my idea may mean that they can be shot without having to fear, or units can shoot at them without a problem. Units, hang on, let me think about this. Units can shoot at knights without retaliation. That's the word I'm looking for, right? Although we potentially put them in that situation. That's not actually that different to ninth. That's what the old 18 plus wounds did anyway. It's kind of the same thing. And was it a massive problem back then? Maybe it was a bit, actually. Maybe it wasn't the greatest. Maybe that's why we saw nothing but armiger armies. And now we do see big knights hitting the table. But who knows? Warmaster World, thank you for the 5. Cog's army is in the bin. Red Corsairs are on the shelf next to Death Guard. So it's Chaos Knights and what's left of Krieg for 10th. Not that I'm salty at all. I think you're allowed to be a bit salty in that situation. To be fair, Will, thank you for the 5. Neil, thank you for the 5. Do you think the current points are just a stopgap for the indexes and GW plan to roll out proper points with the codex releases? No. I don't think this is a stopgap. This is one of my big concerns right now. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong here, but I don't feel like it's a stopgap. I feel like this is an intentional change because it's AOS. It is the same as AOS. It's what they did with AOS points. So I don't think this is a stopgap for indexes. I think this is an intentional change. Why? I don't know. It does kind of fit the simplified narrative. It means the app is significantly easier to develop, to be fair. So there are reasons why I can see it makes sense for them to do it, but I don't think it's designed as a stopgap.
My worry is about added codex creep. More detachment options will favor earlier codex releases when some armies will have to wait 3 years before having more than one detachment.
Yeah, that's a concern. It depends on, again, this depends on their roadmap, which we don't know because they won't share it with us. Because they won't tell us when things are planned. They give us some loose dates. They've given us some loose dates. And they might say that winter 2023, you're going to get a Chaos book. It tells us when in winter 2023. It tells us what part of actual winter it is. And it tells us whether it's, what's the two versions loose? Calendar winter and so is it like,
so I think there's meteorological summer and then there's
and
another,
calendar summer.
yeah,
Are the two different things?
I think so, but there's only like a few days in it, I think.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I think.
But this is their whole roadmap is very woolly and unclear. And if we are looking at waiting 2.5 years before World Eaters get their codex again, and World Eaters are stuck on the same detachment all that time, meanwhile in 3 months' time, Space Marines are getting it. Yeah, that is a mild issue, Gareth, to be fair. I understand, right? I do understand. But that's not something that's new to us, I think, as 40k players. And I'm not making an excuse for it, but it's just not something that's new to us. It happened with 8th edition when the indexes were rolled out. It kind of happened with 9th edition to a point as well. I don't think I'm massively surprised by it. It's a thing. There's ways they could potentially mitigate some of the problems. They could just go, oh, hang on a minute. The AdMech rules really are dog toffee. We're going to release a White Dwarf update, which by the way, I'm completely against. I don't like White Dwarf updates at all. But I don't think this is a massively new thing to us in general. I'd be more concerned about the state of, say, Death Guard than I would be about codex creep with detachment options. And don't forget that these detachment options with stratagems, etc., are now replacements instead of an addition to. So we're not going to have a situation a la 8th edition where a codex comes out with stratagems and warlord traits and relics, and the other index is still stuck with none of that stuff. That's just not going to be a thing that happens again. So I'm feeling a little bit more better about it because at least you've got access to stratagems. The core stratagems are very, very strong, and most of the detachments aren't terrible. Okay, Chris, thank you for the 5. Just allow units to get cover saves against towering units. That works. That works. That's ethics. And here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing. Okay. Change management. I'm about to bore everyone now. Everyone goes as soon as I talk about this. This is something I used to manage in a previous role. Change management, okay? And this is something that, for me personally, GW get wrong a lot, okay? And I don't know the answer to this because they only seem to like their editions to last for 3 years. Maybe if their editions lasted for longer, then this would be significantly easier to do. But change management, in its very, 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 very boiled down core principle, is an interesting concept that they don't do very well, okay? And I'll explain what I mean. So, as a business, you have a problem, and you decide to make 3 changes, okay? I'm going to give you a very, very, very basic story here, but you decide to make 3 changes, okay? And you make them all at the same time, and you don't necessarily individually monitor each specific change, but you make 3 changes that are all designed to impact the same thing, okay? This one has a positive impact. This one has a negative impact. This one has a positive impact. So these 2 now cancel each other out, okay? So time, effort, resource, maybe money has gone into those 2 things, but they've cancelled each other out. But you have no idea because you made 3 changes all at once. But these 2 have now cancelled each other out. Now, true, you're in a net positive right now. You are in net positive. Things have got better because you've made 3 changes and 2 of them were positive, right? Okay? But we still got these 3 things. Now, if you'd have made this one change, you know that's positive. Good. Brilliant. You bring in this next change. You now know that's negative. You revert. You then bring in the 3rd change. You know that's positive. You keep them both. Now you're in an even better position than you were when you started because you didn't just make loads of changes all at once. That makes sense, right? This is very basic level, people, because I'm aware some people out there won't necessarily have done this as a thing.
Change management. Oh Lord. Triggered. What's is changing? Change is scary. Don't change anything. Why are we changing?
She sounded like she had a good time there.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
wow.
AI generated porn, that was.
Yep. That's the future. That's the future.
But it makes sense, okay? This is the problem. So GW have done this in the past. They've made changes. They've nerfed something. They've buffed something else. Net result 0. What was the point? Or they've nerfed one thing, buffed 2 other things. Net result negative. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, it doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. They should make a change. So out of all the things we've just talked about, that's generic to the whole game. Points, towering, indirect. Do you know what? Don't change all 3 at the same time. Although they're my top, they're 3 of my top 5 hot fixes, GW. Don't change all 3 at the same time. Change indirect, maybe. Or change towering. Or change points. One of them. Okay? That's it. See how the game settles. Make another change. See how the game settles. Make another change. See how the game settles. Do that. Because I think I still personally believe that the concept of 10th, the principle of what they were trying to do with 10th, is net positive. I just think they've done it very badly. Right? I'm getting criticised for this all over the place. People keep going, you keep saying it's really good. What they're trying to do with 10th, I think 10th has the potential to be a lot more fun overall. This is hot take, right? The edition came out too early. They weren't ready for it. They must not be ready for it, right? Because it's a mess at the moment. So I think that maybe it was rushed. Maybe people were so sick of 9th they brought it out early. I don't know. Maybe. Do you know the fun? Right. I don't want to be this guy. The fundamental problem with Games Workshop, realistically, is that it has shareholders. Okay? It has shareholders. That's the problem. The problem with any of these businesses, right? The issue with the fact that Wizards is now owned by Hasbro, they have shareholders. Giant corporations have shareholders, and giant corporations just answer to shareholders. And shareholders only care when money's in their pockets. That's all they give a fuck about. Money in their pockets. And guess what? The selling of Leviathan as a box set has probably lined shareholders' pockets. They're probably quite happy right now. But I just don't feel like the game's finished. I don't feel like they've completed it. I feel like I've said to you repeatedly, we're doing public beta testing right now. And that's why I'm actually keen to hear what you guys want to do as well. How would you fix it? But anyway, yeah, thank you, Liberty5, for that 10. That was an interesting read from Amy right there. Ben, thank you for the 350. Oh, I'm going to play Harlequins again to 4++. I mean, they need it because they hit like a fucking wet fish now. They're not particularly powerful. John, thank you for the 5. Woo, change management. I didn't think I'd ever see those words together. Now you are talking my language. Also, Custodes. I mean, even if no one ever actually did any proper change management in the past, right? As a concept, surely what I've just said is kind of more common sense than anything else. Yeah, do you not think? Josh Holton, first a fox stole my eggs, and now the missus wants the telly to watch Married at First Sight Australia. Almost got the watch a whole hour today. I mean, that sounds like divorce material, quite frankly. I think if Lou said to me, I want to watch Married at First Sight Australia, I'd actually question my relationship.
Oh, I don't watch those.
Married at First Sight.
I can't get into it. I don't understand it. The format is weird. I can't get into it. I like things like Gogglebox.
Oh no.
I love Gogglebox.
No.
Gogglebox for me was when I was doing Ben's second night feed. It was on Channel 4. Yeah. So I'd be like, this works, we can watch Gogglebox. Not for me, this
is why I watch YouTube. Danny, thank you for the 2. GW fails more than they succeed. It's suspect. It is suspect. Boy, come on, people. What would you guys do? How would you finish? How would you fix GW? Also, Danny, I saw him earlier, ! Snipe me. Right, it changed to ! Munch me. I probably should change it back now because we got Munch, didn't we?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was reading it earlier because Vex was on about it, and I thought, I'm sure you got him.
We got Munch, yeah. But maybe now Danny is the new Munch.
Oh.
Maybe.
Is it Danny me?
Danny me.
Because it was Munch me.
It doesn't. I don't think it works as much as Munch me does.
Oh.
Where is Munch me? I need to edit Munch me into Snipe me again. ! Snipe me. Maybe if Danny tries for a week, he can have it named after him. Maybe. Submit. Cool, we've changed it. We've changed the command. We've changed the command. Danny needs a membership, people. We're on 30 already tonight. All right, we only have 32 to get to meet the target. And whoever, by the way, pushes us over the target sets the new target. That's how it works. Seymour Butts, thank you for the 5. On a completely different note, Necron Index feels more fun and flavorful than 9th edition Codex. Honestly, GW have nailed the design this time around. Yeah, so this is the frustrating thing as well. This is, okay, This is why I feel like it's half-baked. This is why I feel like it isn't a completely finished rule set, right? Because I agree with you, see, but some of them feel very good, just where they should be. My personal opinion is, this is an unpopular opinion, my personal opinion is Space Marines finally feel like Space Marines. Like, narratively, they finally feel like Space Marines. Custodes finally feel like Custodes. Necrons finally feel like Necrons. Okay? To some extent, even Chaos Space Marines finally feel like I'm like, okay, good. These are good ones. These are good indexes. This is where you did a good job. Right? And then we see Death Guard, where someone was like, oh, I can't be asked. Why am I bothering? Can't be bothered. No interest. What? What's going on? Wee Man, thank you for the gifted. Steve, thank you for the 5. 6 more to add. Did we get him? We got him. Danny Smith already got. Well, that ruined my fucking plan. That's not how it's supposed to work, Steve. You're supposed to keep missing him for the next hour.
How come it took so long to get Munch?
I now hope for the day that these random people come up who want a membership and end up not being able to get a membership for 2 or 3 days, because it really pushes my gifted membership numbers up. I'm like, oh, it's fun now. We're all trying to get Danny. We're all trying to get Munch. And then when someone goes, oh, we're sniping you, bang, got you. I'm like, oh, okay. Right, that ruins my fun now. But thank you, wee man. Thank you, Stephen, for the gifted. In all seriousness, you guys are incredible. Memberships are the big thing that keeps the lights on. Oh, I didn't check what it was at. Okay, we're just going to make a number up. I'm going to add the 6. I feel like I'm behind a bit. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. But thank you so much, you people. Smarvin, thank you for the 5. As a knight player, towering should impose a -1 ballistic skill and give the target +1 save. Would help a giant amount. Also, fate shouldn't trigger dev wounds. Okay, that's an interesting fix to towering. I'm not against that. I'm not against that. The funny thing is with people like Danny as well, at least, right? By the way, Danny, love you. I've only started to see you sharp recently. Amazing. You've donated loads. But he's now in there thanking people for gifting him a membership, which is $5. He's also super chatted about $20 tonight. So he could have just bought his own membership. Just saying, Danny. Just saying. Right? Thank you so much. Yes, Marvin, I don't necessarily disagree with the... in fact, I basically agree with the Fate Dice thing. Fate Dice triggering dev wounds is horrific, okay? The -1 ballistic skill +1 save. So you're saying that towering suffers the same penalty as old indirect? Okay. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Legio Panda, use !Panda me. Since my main card got rejected and I can't be bothered to use the second one to become a member. Oh my, Legio Panda. You just can't, you don't care. Danny says I'm bad at math. I hope so, because that's helping me, right? I'm good for that. But thank you for the 5 as well. Back when GW listed writers in codices, they used novelists to write rules instead of technical writers. They need to hire staff to... Okay. The thing is, when it comes to hiring people at GW, we have to ask a question, chat. Okay. We have to ask a question. Duncan was competent and he left. Peachy was competent and he left. Louise was competent and she left. What we're seeing at the moment, at least in the public side, is the competent members of staff are kind of leaving, right? Now, that's not to state that everybody who's still at GW is incompetent. That's absolutely not what I mean at all. Like, by no stretch am I suggesting that. But I think that, and I've heard lots of things. I think that they're possibly going to struggle to attract people, the people that they want to come and help them with their rules writing, or people that they want to come and do certain parts of their business. I think they're going to struggle to attract them. And it might be to do with the compensation that they offer, the package, for example. Like, if I wanted to go and work for GW, they're probably going to pay me less than the channel does. They're probably also going to tell me to shut my channel down. They're probably going to tell me to remove any affiliation with any business that I have that's 40k based, so that I just work for them. Okay? So I feel like they may struggle to attract the right kinds of people who are going to be the best in the business. Maybe. This is entirely me spitballing. This is entirely hearsay. This isn't any fact. This is just me thinking out loud right now. So, using novelists to write rules is definitely not what they should be doing, obviously. but they're a miniature company that will turn into a game company.
Devastating Wounds is too good on anything with more than 2 damage. Fix Fate dice for sure, but also remove Dev Wounds from D cannons and such so they can't wipe entire infantry units.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Devastating Wounds in general, I think, is one of my kind of big problems with Ninth, if I'm honest. And I don't... One of the reasons why I didn't put it in my top 5 fixes is because I don't actually know how I'd fix it specifically. Here's a question, chat. Okay, here's a question. Do we need Devastating Wounds in the game at all? Answer me that. Do we need them at all? In the meantime, Mordy Hammer, thank you for the 5. I feel like there's an A team and a B team of rules makers. It's easy to tell which one wrote which. I feel like it just ran out of time. I feel like some of them are rushed. That's what I think. Hoken Paints, thank you for upgrading to a Jarl tier member. What a legend. Love you dearly. Thank you so much. Resident Rum Drinker, thank you for the 5. The issue is Games Workshop are closing ranks and removing transparency at a time when other companies are doing the complete opposite and thriving for it. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem, right? So we spoke about this briefly yesterday, how I feel like they should be doing a public feedback thing. And I think that there needs to be more transparency and honesty with the community at large. It's a company that heavily relies on its community to carry it, whether that be events, competitions, channels, content, people going and playing at Warhammer World, people just playing at home and therefore buying the games, buying the armies. They rely on the community. The community is paramount to Games Workshop's survival. And there's no transparency and honesty with them. And that's, I think, something they could definitely do better at. Looks like, in chat, a monumental, overwhelming kind of no, we don't need Devastating Wounds, right? We don't need Dev Wounds causing mortals. If it was +1 damage instead, that would be a lot nicer. Sounds like a cool fix. Dev Wounds on Psychic only, Paul, not against that. But then it hurts like Votan and Necrons and armies that don't have it. You can remove Dev Wounds entirely and anti-tank is still anti-tank, says Seymour Butts. Don't disagree with you, not really. I don't think Mortal Wound belong in 40k, but that's an addition change thing. See? Why do we have it? Why do we have it? I kind of... That Thundercoil harpoon, right, on the Knight Valiant, because, you know, I'm just going to make sure I'm really hating on Knights for Pip's sake. That Thundercoil harpoon on the Valiant, right? Does it need to be 12 mortal wounds? It's AP bonkers. It's strength good, right? So if you have to roll to hit and roll to wound, at least your opponent might have an invuln save against it. And then if it does do damage, it's a big deal. But because it's anti-vehicle 4+, you roll a 4+, cool. You've got no armor save, just take the mortal wounds. Like, that's... I thought we were supposed to be removing non-interactive stuff from 40k and coming back to the interactivity. It doesn't, like... I don't get it. Stephen, thank you for the 2. Remove Devastating Wounds and give every army anti-tank. Well, I mean, people like Sisters really need anti-tank. Dev Wounds equals no invuln. I mean, that's the same as mortal wound. So that's that. So Preston, right? That's the thing. That's the exact thing that Devastating Wounds has been bought into. You'll notice that they said there's no weapons that ignore invulnerable saves anymore. Well, there is. Everything that has Devastating Wounds essentially ignores invulnerable saves if you roll the right dice roll. So what I think they should have done, remove Devastating Wounds from the game and reduce the number of invulnerable saves that are around. Okay? That's what I think they should have done, in my opinion. That would have made it better. I still think we can have a lot of fun with 10th edition as a community. I still think we're going to have a lot of fun with 10th edition, but I feel like we're on version 0.01 of 10th edition, and I feel like we're going to start having fun maybe at like version 2 at this rate. Okay. Thundercoil finally has a place and is cool. If anything deserves Devastate Wounds, that's that. Well, I mean, finally it's cool. I agree with you, but it's just. I'm not going to slide down this negative hill, chat. We're not going to do that, okay?
I finally found some padded envelopes that I'm happy with when the dice get here.
You mean the 3,000 new dice that are on their way right now?
Yes.
3,000 new dice. Are they matte black envelopes?
Yeah. I found them. Brownie points for me. All the brownie points for me.
Oh, I like that. That makes me happy.
Face.
I like matte black. Now we need matte black labels.
They'll be almost impossible for the postman to read as it's a thermal printer.
Could a printer not print like gold onto the matte black labels?
No, because it's a thermal printer. Why would gold be thermal?
Why is black thermal?
Don't ask these questions. All I know is it needs to be a white label because it comes out black because it's a thermal thingy.
Shocking, honestly, absolutely shocking. I like matte black envelopes, so you made me happy. But we've only got matte black envelopes.
Well, I was thinking of getting some matte red ones, so if someone orders just red dice,
They go in a matte red envelope.
Matte red envelope.
I'm into that idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we'll end up with like blue envelopes, purple envelopes, red, black.
I mean, the problem's
white.
yours. You're the one that ships the dice out.
I am definitely making work for myself.
I also found today on Shopify that you can take pre-orders.
Have you found where you can do it?
But it says it's advanced Shopify. Shopify itself doesn't support it. And you need a person who can do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to be able to code it into your website.
Oh.
So it can do it. We can't.
Okay. Okay.
Half damage still on a successful save. Okay, something like that. I mean, I'm okay with all of your suggestions, to be fair. Make Devastating Wounds back into old school rending. That works. Buy a brownie for Lucy, Steve. Thank you for the 5. Dave's Doom, thank you for the 2. Jimbo Jones, thank you for the 2. Did you want a brownie? She had a magnum out of me, chat, today.
I can't make brownies. It always turns into cake.
It's yes, or goo.
And I'm very good at making curry. Because it turns into a casserole.
It is a casserole. And then the one time you made a casserole, it turned into a curry.
I know.
Genius. Ginger Steve, thank you for the 5. Devastating Wounds just need to ignore all saves, including the vulnerable saves. That way it can't splash between models. Fix Devastating Wounds in 30 seconds. I mean, I think at this point, would anybody actually argue that doing that is a better fix than its current state? That it doesn't bounce between other models? I don't necessarily think that I mean, there are edge cases where I can see why the Mortal Wound thing was brought in, okay? So let's take the Gatling Cannon that, again, is on Knights, okay? That's on the Night Warden. If it's on the Night Warden, it has Devastating Wounds if it targets infantry, amongst other things. But if it targets infantry, it has Devastating Wounds. It's a 2 damage weapon. So if you're firing against guardsmen, every successful 6 to win will kill 2 guardsmen. And therefore, the mortal spillover means that Gatling Cannon hitting in at 10 guardsmen is significantly more likely to just obliterate them, which it probably should, to be fair. To be fair, it probably should. But on other cases, I think Devastating Wounds, for me personally, I think it was just employed to... They made a kind of cool rule, I think, that they just then put on everything. Every army gets Devastating Wounds all over the place. Oh, cool. Okay. Good. Ask ChatGPT for website code. That wouldn't be...
Ooh.
Liam, will you be selling D8 dice? Not currently, no. Not currently. We only have D6 right now. So...
That's an idea.
What?
Ask ChatGPT, however it is. Could it do that?
I'd rather just go and ask like Bridger.
But isn't that interesting if it could do that?
ChatGPT can write computer code. And if I went into ChatGPT and said, can you write me the code for me to take pre-orders on Shopify, it'd probably work out how to do it.
We should ask it how you cure cancer.
I don't think it knows how to do that yet.
Well, it's only going to be a few months before it's something like 400 times smarter than the smartest human.
That was that podcast that you wrote, right?
I love it. So
The Diary of a CEO?
Diary of a CEO scared me shitless, this guy that used to work for Google, but he was saying how AI is bad, and if it's used for bad, which it will be because we're humans and we like to fuck everything up, that in only a matter of months, AI could be a real problem. But if used for good, it could be incredible.
What this reminds me of is the release of Fat Shark and Dark Tide. Eye candy game on the surface, but once you dive into it the warts start to show up and it takes forever for fixes to be done.
I mean, to some extent, Eric, thank you for the 10, by the way. To some extent, I'll be honest with you, chat. I'll hold my hands up and say that to some extent, I feel like a bit of a mug. Because when 10th launched, with all the rules that were coming out, when we saw... I actually am curious. Okay, I'm actually going to do a poll for a change chat. I'm normally against polls. I'm going to ask a poll. Right? This is an interesting poll for me. Top content this. Still top content.
Can't touch this. Do top content.
Okay. I purposely didn't want to read this out loud because I didn't want chat to go wild with their answers before I hit go on the poll. Can I ask you a poll? I want you to read the question and just click the answer that best suits how you feel. Because I have an opinion on this. And this is, I think, part of the reason why I've been quite negative about 10th edition lately, after being quite positive. So there's been people, and I'll explain why I'm asking this question, okay? Some people have been in comments. If you go into the comment section of yesterday's stream and you look into it, some people have made some comments about my content, about how, well, you were being super positive and now you're being super negative, and oh, you're just being negative because it gets clicks and views. It's not the truth. It's not the case. People are, of course, entitled to their opinion as to what they think of the channel and what they think of the content, right? But I always like to bang the drum of honesty with you guys, and I like to say I'm always going to tell you how I'm honestly feeling at the time, what I think, what my opinion is, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and so sometimes that opinion changes, and there's a number of reasons why it can change. It can change because of experience. It can change because of time. It can change because simply I've had conversations with other people who have then explained things or talked about things or added a different angle or talked about it from a different kind of mindset, and I've gone, I actually kind of agree with that, and that changes my opinion. And I think anybody in the world who vehemently sticks to an opinion or sticks to a side and is unwilling to listen to anybody else's side is a negative person in the world. Okay, that's just a fact. I don't think that's even up for discussion. If you come across a person who is, I am of this opinion and you will never change my mind and I'm not open to discussion, then they're a bit of an arsehole, right? So I'm always open to discussion. I'm always open for people changing my opinions. On stream, I often change my mind live when I'm like, this is a bad thing and I would do this. And people go, that's why that's terrible. Like, oh, actually, that sounds pretty terrible. Because I'm not perfect. I don't necessarily know exactly how to write these rules. I feel like I can criticize GW, and people go, well, you write a better rule set. Yeah, but I'm a one-man person who's not a multi-million pound company. It's not my job to write rules. Okay? I would argue, here's an ego moment. I would argue that I make better content than GW makes.
Such an ego.
And they have a significantly bigger budget than I do. But it's not my job to write rules. So when I come up with this is how we should change towering, and people in chat like Pip argue with me. I mean, I've met Pip. I'm more than happy to have conversations with him about these sorts of things. And if he goes, you're wrong, I'm like, cool. Why? And he can explain it. I'm like, okay, I can see how that's a problem. I think that's being grown up and mature and open, right? I don't feel that's a problem, if I'm honest with you. So the reason why I went from supremely positive to quite negative about 10th edition actually isn't about the fact that this is getting clicks and views. I mean, I'll be honest with you people, it is right now, but that's not why I'm doing it. I've tried to come on and be positive about this, about how we fix the game instead of negative about the state of the game. And actually, quite frankly, Joe and I are playing live on stream tomorrow night, and guess what? We're probably going to have a lot of fun. We're probably going to really enjoy ourselves on stream, and everyone will be like, you've just spent 2 nights whinging about this game, and now you're there enjoying yourself. Yeah, I'm going to try and be there and enjoy myself for your entertainment and for my enjoyment. I am going to try and be there and enjoy myself. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and not focus on the shit, and we might bring it up and we might talk about it when it is shit. But we're not going to try and focus on the shit. That's the difference, okay? So I'm just trying to explain. Now, one of the reasons why I have switched from slightly negative to slightly positive is because of the poll in chat, and I would encourage you all to go and vote on that poll right now if you haven't. Almost half of you have already voted, okay? The question is simple. Who feels lied to by GW's 10th edition promotional material? And what I mean by that is GW put out a lot of things. They talked about simplifying the rules but not making them simple. They talked about reducing the lethality of the rules. They talked about universal special rules, making things clear and easy to understand. They talked about a number of different things that they found were problems with the current edition and how they were going to solve them. And yeah, some of those things are probably true. Some of those things are probably slightly better. But on the whole, do you feel like they've told you the truth, or do you feel like they've lied to you? It's an interesting question. Okay. Every game I watched on Titans looked like the players had a blast. I mean, I don't think I've had an unenjoyable game of 10th edition, with one slight caveat. The last game I played, which was Thursday last week against Bridger on Titans, okay, And we played that for everybody to watch. You can go back and watch that game now. You can go and check that video out. The last game I played against Bridger was him with Imperial Knights and me with Eldar. If it wasn't Bridger and I playing a game for you guys to try and showcase what was mental about 40k at the time, right? And I was playing against Knights and I didn't have Eldar, or even if I was playing Eldar and I was playing against, let's say, Votan, that's a game I probably wouldn't have enjoyed. Okay? If I'm honest. Because it's Bridger, because we knew what we were setting out to do, and because we made sure we entertained people who were watching, or tried to at least entertain people who were watching, that's why I had fun on that game. That game aside, every other game of 10th edition I've had so far, I have had fun. I think that some of this is directly correlated to the people that I play against as well. So I played against Bridger on the members-only game last Tuesday. I played against Adrian on the Titans tournament. And prior to that, I'd played against Chris. I played against Joe. I think I played against Brom. And these people are all incredible people to play against. And I would challenge any one of you to play any one of those people and not enjoy yourselves. If you play Joe or Brom or Chris or Adrian or Bridger, guess what? You're probably going to enjoy yourself and you're probably going to have fun. I remember famously, Brom went to a GT. This is back in 8th edition when ITC rules were still in effect. It was his first ever GT. He'd never played ITC rules before. It was up at one of Mikey from Hellstorm's events. He puts on incredible events. It was up at Hellstorm Mikey's, one of Hellstorm Mikey's events, and he uses BCP to pair off. And BCP got Drew, and the first person that Brom played or got pulled against on his first ever competitive tournament, his first ever GT, and the first time he ever played ITC rules was Manny Kima. Some of you might know that name. Some of you might not know that name. Last year, Manny Kima came second in the world in the rankings for players in 40k. Manny Kima is an exceptional player. He's very, very good. Me and Mikey from Hellstorm looked at the draw, realised that he got Manny from Glasshammer, and started laughing. Because Brom was about to get fucked. There was no other way that game was going to go. Brom, it was going to be like getting a prostate exam from Edward Scissorhands. That was it. That was it. That's how that was going to go, right? That was how Brom's match was going to go. So Brom then went and played Manny in game 1. And guess what? He got fingered. He got smashed. He got obliterated. And he came away from that game with a smile on his face. He enjoyed himself playing Manny, despite the fact that he got absolutely torn apart. It is possible to enjoy yourself playing a bad game. It is possible to enjoy yourself whilst getting beat as well. A lot of this is based on your opponent. Okay? I can't wait to play Joe tomorrow. I haven't played him for nearly 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks I haven't played Joe. I'm looking forward to playing against Joe tomorrow. I'm going to have fun against him. And no matter what happens, I'm going to have fun against Joe because it's Joe. And I think as a community right now, this is a segue that I didn't expect to go on actually, but I think as a community right now, one of the things we're going to have to be cognizant of, one of the things we're going to have to try and do with 10th edition is not only just treat it like a public beta like I've already suggested, but we need to... Right, challenge to everybody, 660 people plus in chat. Here's a challenge to everyone right now, okay? When you're playing 10th edition, and this is especially true if you're playing Eldar or Knights or certain other factions that are quite strong right now, or if you know that there's going to be interactions within your game that aren't quite right at the moment. They're broken rules, they're not great rules, they're not favourable rules, whatever. Right? Here's my challenge to you, chat, right now. Please go to the table and please have one of the goals in your head, not the only goal, but one of the goals in your head to ensure that your opponent has a good game of 40k. Because if both people go to the table and have that mindset and have that attitude, right, guess what? You're both going to have a good game of 40k. Now, don't get me wrong. If you go to the table with that mindset and you clearly work out very, very quickly that your opponent's a giant fucking douchebag, then, you know, unleash the beast. Overwatch all your D cannons. Make use of all the towering rules. Of course, do that. But only do that when you know what your opponent is like. Okay? Before that, I would urge you to go to the table with the mindset that I'm going to make sure my opponent has a good time. Now, this is also something that, you know, if I'm going to get mildly philosophical, this is something that we can apply to the wider world, life in general. Make sure that people around you aren't, uncomfortable by your presence or behaviour. It's something that I think is just a generic rule life, okay? A generic life in rule, sorry. The underlying message here, everyone, is, right, one of my favourite words, don't be a cunt, is quite simple. But when it comes to 10th edition, we know towering is possibly a problem right now. We know devastating wounds is possibly a problem right now. We know fate dice is possibly a problem right now. We know Eldar are overpowered, probably a bit right now, okay? So just be conscious of your opponent, because every single opponent that has a horrifically negative and horrible experience in the game in general is an opponent that might go home and put their army down and not pick it up again. That's less people playing the game. Yeah, you might have won your match, you might feel good at that moment in time, but that's less people playing the game, and that's bad for the hobby in general. Right, cool. Anyway, the poll's interesting, actually. I think, if I'm honest with you, I expected it to be more balanced. I didn't think it would be a 64-36% split, but we've had 436 votes, nearly 450 votes. 64% actually feel lied to by GW's promotional material. That's interesting. For me, that's surprisingly high, which is interesting, right? LCA. Oh, LCA TV, by the way, that's in chat right now. He keeps putting at the start of every message, brackets Daryl. Daryl, I know it's you. I'm aware what LCA is. LCA stands for Laser Cut Architects, right? Laser Cut Architect, Daryl, is a guy who was working previously at Factorum, and he's moved back home, and he spends more time with his missus now. I'm sure she's gutted, because she's probably had to cancel all 3 of her milkmen. But Daryl's now moved back home, right? And he's got his website as well, Laser Cut Architect. Search for that on Google. He makes laser cut MDF terrain, and quite frankly, Daryl designed some of the nicest laser cut MDF terrain that's out there that exists. So check him out. He's got a Facebook page. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got his website. Check out Daryl. He's just a lovely guy, right? He's just a really nice guy. So I'm going to shout about him and say, go check him out. Despite the fact that he's probably sat there at home now, slightly embarrassed because I've just shouted him out live on YouTube in front of all of you. But if you could all go check him out, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much. Right?
Every time you mention Daryl, I hear his voice go, "Hey up, duck."
Hey up, duck. Right, so Galahad the Grail Hunter, welcome to the channel as a Hasir tier. For all of you beautiful people that have joined recently as a Hasir tier, that's our bottom level membership, right? That's our barrier to entry. That's the thing that stops the fucking trolls and bots getting in Discord. We don't really make much in the way of money off of Hasirs. Once YouTube's taken its cut and the tax man's bummed me, at that point we see pence from Hasir tiers, but all you get is Discord access. I'm kind of comfortable with that trade-off. But if you really love the channel and you really want to support us, then upgrading to Scald is incredibly important to us, as is looking at the higher tiers. Scald, currently we don't offer great value for money with Scald. I'm going to be honest with everybody. We do members-only chats on Tuesdays right now, and I need to actually talk to you people and do some other polls about, hey, what can we do? Do you actually want to see members-only videos, or are you happy that it still goes out to the wider YouTube? How do we make things better for you? If you do go in at Jarl tier, however, we give you a monthly giveaway. Haskal is behind-the-scenes content. Thane is a WhatsApp chat, and Aces get a free event ticket, and we try and put on at least one event every single year. You get a free ticket to it, okay? Beautiful. Right, John McCardle, pack it in. Came in yesterday, flopped his dick out, did the same again today. John McCardle is constantly getting his dick out. He's just gifted, get this, weird, 51 memberships. Not entirely sure why.
Nice.
But John, if you're still in chat, you know what that means. Because you pushed us over the edge, you now need to pick the next title. John McCardle, 45.95. What's the next total, John? Come on, stop fucking about. Right, Sir Galahad Grail Hunter, thank you for the 5. A less lethal game that proceeds to spam mortal wounds. It's like the Warcom writers and the game developers didn't talk to each other. There's an interesting... Was it? Hang on. Right, it was in the OnlyThanes WhatsApp chat, which, by the way, is a great WhatsApp chat. But in the OnlyThanes... Oh, there's fucking 35 new messages in OnlyThanes. Come on, people. There's a post in OnlyThanes, okay, that someone shared, which is from Games Workshop Warhammer World, okay? And someone put a comment on there about something to do with Warhammer TV. And Games Workshop Warhammer World responded to someone's suggestion about Warhammer TV and said, alas, we don't make the videos. We, as in the Warhammer World Visitor Centre, but if...
Talk about boomer takes, here goes. Flyers and Knights broke the game. Been playing since 2nd. They have never been balanced since they were introduced in the game. Dump them and solve so many issues.
Carlos, I cannot say how much I agree with you.
Don't think GW lied. Why would they? In my experience, it's lack of leadership, coordination, messaging, resources, etc. that lead to failure on launch. What would be the benefit of lying about it? How does it pay off for them?
So lied is in the actual question in the poll, John, is just a simple way of saying what they told us hasn't exactly been true. So maybe lying was the wrong word to use. Maybe lying from a legal perspective is the wrong word to use. But what I'm saying is what they said what's come to pass? And I don't think it has. Like, I don't feel like what they've said has proven to be true. Have they lied? No. But have they not necessarily given us an accurate representation of what 10th edition was going to be? I think that's probably something that they've done. They haven't given us an accurate representation. Okay? So, lied? No. But you see where I'm going with it, John? Right? You get it? Anyway, yeah, so. Right, back, John, if you could stop. So Warhammer, Games Workshop Warhammer World, we don't make the videos, but if you pitch it to the Warhammer TV gang and enough people ask, who knows, that may happen. And then someone, one of my Thanes, who's amazing, instantly put a comment straight after going, imagine if the different sections of Games Workshop actually talk to each other, which is incredible. They don't, they're silos, right? They don't talk to each other. The AOS department doesn't talk to the 40k department, the 40k department doesn't talk to the Forge World department, the Forge World department don't talk to Warhammer TV don't talk to Warcom. At least that's how it looks. Maybe they do. Maybe they're just a fucking dreadful company. Maybe they do talk to each other. But it would seem that they don't. But Coral. Right. Anyway, thank you so much, you hero John, for your incredible donations as well. You're amazing, right? But yeah, Warcom writers and the game developers don't talk to each other. So Galahad, I absolutely wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Alex, thank you for the 2. World Eaters, fave best units, Mauler Fiends. Mauler Fiends are really good. One of my favourite units for World Eaters now is a non-winged Demon Prince with that 4-up invulnerable save aura. I still am pretty hype on 8-bound, despite the fact that they probably are slightly overcosted. The Master of Executions, the Mo, is an incredible unit right now. He's really, really good. So he's something that I think is almost an auto-include with one unit of Berserkers for him specifically. Yeah, it's hard actually to answer that question properly at the moment. I still think they're going to be fun though, okay? Right, we did that one. AJ, oh my god, AJ Phillips, thank you for becoming a Thane. What a legend. There is a link in Discord, which will now be unlocked to you. You'll now be able to see it to join the WhatsApp chat. If you struggle, because the link sometimes is working and sometimes is broken. If you struggle with that link in Discord to try and get into the Only Thanes WhatsApp chat, just send me a DM, message me about it, and say, hey, I'm Alex. I'm AJ. I'm trying to get into the Only Things WhatsApp chat, and I'll sort you out with a link. I'll just need proof that it's you, because otherwise there's 681 people watching, and I end up with 500 messages. I'm trying to get in the WhatsApp chat. Oh, no, that's not how it works. But thank you so much, you're a hero. Magnus did nothing wrong. Thank you for gifting a membership. Brennan Duck, thank you for upgrading to Scald tier. You are a hero. Did John pick a new total? The new number sub is 1151. That's an odd number to pick. No one just wants regular ones, but we're going to go for it. 1151. Boom. Okay, there we go, John. Thank you. Thank you. Got that little white gap again. Got that little white knob above my head. Okay. Right. GW broke an old business axiom. Thank you, Carlos, for the 5. Under promise, over deliver. GW is the exact opposite. They were trying to change and wrote a check they couldn't cash. Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. And like I said, though, right, we like I just talked about, if we make sure as a community in general that we do get, because let's face it, right, there's a lot of people out there that have said, just don't play it, just stop playing it. I mean, for a lot of us, that's not an option, okay? We love the game so much that for most of us, we are going to keep playing 40k because we really enjoy it. For a lot of us as well, we have invested so much time and so much money and so much energy into this hobby. So much time, effort, and energy into this hobby that we're not prepared to just drop it because GW have released a semi-shit edition of 40k, okay? We're not prepared to. So we're going to keep playing it. Now, there's been worse editions of this game. There's been darker times. And I did say last night that this is your 10th go at this. You should be doing better. And I stand by that. I think that is in fact true. But we're still going to play it, right? we're still going to have fun. So let's make sure when we walk up to a table and we have an opponent and we're playing 10th edition 40k, and it's before Games Workshop have released all their fixes, because let's face it, they're going to release loads of fixes. Let's just make sure each of us has fun. Let's make sure we enjoy ourselves. I think that's important, to be honest with you. Don't you reckon?
Yeah.
It's just a life thing in general. Make sure the people you're around are also enjoying themselves. Okay? Wow, Law Nerd. Welcome to the channel as a Yalta. You're a hero. It is nearly next month, and the next Combat Patrol box giveaway will go live. Hang on, our Discord's not open right now. I don't know who won the last giveaway, but no one's got in touch with me yet for their Combat Patrol box. It's currently unclaimed, so if you're the person in Discord who won it, please come and let me know. Smartphone, thank you for the 5. If Towering was broken, then Chaos Knights would just be as bad as Imperial Knights, but they aren't. That means that the issue is Eldar and Imperial Knights. I semi-agree. I do agree with you that Chaos Knights are underwhelming compared to their Imperial cousins. Let's face it, Chaos players aren't exactly unaware of being shat on by Games Workshop constantly. However, I still think that Towering is a problem at the moment, if I'm honest with you. And even to the point where it can be a problem in the reverse. So Imperial Knights might find if they bring, let's say they bring 4 Knights, because that's what the player wants to bring and he wants to have fun with 4 Knights. It's probably going to be impossible for him to hide all 4 Knights behind pieces of terrain that are big enough to completely obscure them from enemy units, okay? Which means with Towering and True Line of Sight being a thing, if you come up against an opponent that has enough anti-tank, they could drop a Knight in the first turn before you've even been able to move. So we've kind of focused on it being too much of a problem for Imperial Knights, Towering, as it currently is, which it is, but it's also a problem in the reverse, okay? It's not right. It needs fixing. But Chaos Knights are underwhelming compared to Imperial Knights, but I don't think Chaos Knights are in a bad place. I think Imperial Knights are just too good at the moment. And it's the combination of Towering and their insane amount of damage output, okay? Right. Cool. I've played 3 games with friends. We removed Devastating Wounds for now, and we had fun. But I'm off to an RTT Saturday and dreading it. If I win the first round, I will get paired against something horrible, offensive brain bug. Well, I'll tell you what, go to that GT. Next week, come back on the 40k show. Tell us how you got on, please. And tell us how your experience was at a tournament. Because I haven't done a tournament in 10th, obviously, yet. And I'd be keen to know what people's experiences are. Okay? Also, a person said earlier... Who was it who said earlier? Oh, Carlos with his 10. Taking flyers and knights, taking super heavies and flyers out of the game, 100% I would do that. And I like knights. I've said forever that bringing them into the game was the bad choice.
6th was so bad they released 7th in 2 years, 2012 6ths, 2014 7ths. And 7th was no treat. High loose.
He can't hear you wave.
You can't hear me wave.
No. He can't see you wave.
If you listen carefully, you can hear where I broke my wrist.
I don't think we can.
No, you can
My
hear
mics are good, but I'm not sure they're that good.
Click, click.
Just in case you weren't aware, that's her saying click. It's not the noise her wrist's making.
I was waving at you, John, and it was making my wrist click. There it is again. You can hear it. I can hear it.
I don't think we can hear it. Can you hear it, chat? Can you hear it? Magnus did nothing wrong. Thank you for the 733. Asking for a friend. Do you know the customer complaint phone number for GW? I do not, but there probably is one. And thank you for gifting the membership as well. Magnus did nothing wrong. Oh no, I haven't. I've just not scrolled down. That's on me. Sorry. That's on me. Not scrolling down on my viewer activity. Right. Anyway, it's that time, chat. It's the end of the 40k show for another night. Just about. Apart from AJ's big dicks come out as well now. Okay. But we will have a loose fact, right?
This fact is factual.
And tomorrow night at 7:30, we will have a live game of 10th edition from my humble little studio, whilst I walk in there and be slightly depressed that it's so much smaller than the one over at Titans.
As a fan of AdMech, Knights, Tau, and Votan 10 is quite the mix of emotions. Thanks for the content. Got me through visiting Titans. How do you think Necrons are looking? Unfun to play into, or it can be fine with the right attitude?
No, I actually don't think Necrons are in a terrible place, AJ.
If no one claims the giveaway, I'll take a Space Wolves box, wink
I'm
wink.
sure you will, Alex. I'm sure you will. Thanks for the 10, man. You're a hero. I can't wait to come and see you soon. It's been a while. I will get up there some point soon. I'll probably bring the bike up. AJ, I don't think Necrons are going to be unfun to play into. They're going to be slightly frustrating, kind of, because they're just going to keep getting back up. But that's very Necron narrative, okay? So I'm actually okay with it because it kind of works and it kind of makes sense. They're not obnoxiously powerful. They're not ridiculously durable. They're not stupidly overpowered in the damage output. I think Necrons, if that's is that one of the armies you've listed? Hang on, what have you said? I play Admech, Knights, Tau, and Votan. Okay, Necrons are going to be a good fun army to collect. I think they're going to be fine. And well, the other thing with Necrons is, I don't feel like we're going to see loads of changes in Necrons in the near future. Okay, so they're a good choice. And thank you for the 50 after also becoming a Thane. What a hero. I love you. Thank you so much. So Galahad, thank you for the 5. Played since second, and I don't understand these simpler rules. They're not simpler, just more ambiguous or half thought out. I miss my rulebook tomes. I mean, some of it definitely isn't simpler, but Jay, thank you for the gifted membership. John, thank you for 5 more gifted memberships. You people are popping off tonight. Again, I don't know what to say apart from thank you. So thank you. And I'll now update my tracker. There we go. Right, cool. Thank you so much. Crumpets Panda, thank you for the 5. I'm in the mood for some positivity. I'm really enjoying the updates from Ravage Star. Looking forward to that still. There's cool models. So that's Mini Wargaming's Kickstarter. No, Mini Wargaming Dave's Kickstarter for his own model range. They look super cool. I really like them. Check it out. I don't know if they're still for sale. I don't know if you can still buy them. Right? Disappointed I've not heard Liam call anything cute tonight. You haven't, no. I'm going to end the poll. It was interesting. It was an interesting result. I think there was more yes, I feel lied to than no. I've actually thought that would be a closer poll, but interesting. Thank you. Some of you fuckers need to get yourselves together and like the stream, says Kirioth. Yeah, I mean, 637 people watching and only 386 likes. We've got a loose fact coming up. Can we hit 500 likes before the end of the stream? I like it when people say that, Kirioth, as well. Yesterday, John McCardle said, you fuckers should start becoming members. And then a load of people did it straight away. So it's better for me if you guys bully the stream. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. I'm joking. Right. Are you ready for your loose fact? Have you got one ready?
This one's 100% true.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, right. You can't super chat 10 or more right now because we can't interrupt loose.
Studies suggest that children ask around 73 questions per day.
So I actually think that's bullshit.
Do you think it's more?
I think it's a lot more.
100? Wait, is that just for one child? Is that if you're around one child, that's 73 questions. So if you're around 2 children, 146 questions. Per day.
Per child per day.
73 per child.
Per day, minimum.
Yeah.
So we're getting 146 questions a day.
Yeah. We haven't even factored in the dog yet.
Yeah.
Just because she doesn't talk
She
doesn't mean she's not actually
questions.
asking a question.
She doesn't ask questions. I mean, I still think it's false. I think there's probably more than 76 questions from our kids at least.
Soup says 65 of them are just why.
Minimum Soups. Minimum 65 are why. Minimum.
We get but why? But why?
That's my youngest, yeah.
But why?
I fucking said so.
He's in a phase at the minute of going, no, seriously. And I go, Ben, I believe you. I believe that you're serious, that you need the toilet. Go and use the toilet. No, seriously, I believe you.
We hit 449 likes. They tried to hit 500 for me.
Oh, they're so close.
I watch Westy, right, who's a Call of Duty streamer. And he's within 15 minutes, he's like, if we could hit that 1,000, I'm like, fuck you. You've been alive for 10 minutes, bastard.
Screw you.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to see more me and Joe, we are likely to be doing another DMZ stream tomorrow on the COD channel because we are closing in on that 1,000 subscriber count. !gaming in the chat if you want to come and watch that tomorrow daytime. Before then, Joe heads on over here for the 10th edition stream tomorrow night. We were going to do a Liam and Joe show. However, we had a kind of chat about it. We don't really have anything we really want to talk about together at the moment. But we're also planning some other types of content for the channel, which we will also be talking about whilst he's here tomorrow evening. That aside, you will still get to hear Joe and I, and maybe even Mr. the War Hipster if he comes and joins us during the day. We may DMZ stream, no promise. !gaming if you want to come and hang out with us on that one, right? Saray, I saw your comment in the chat, and I'm going to do something for them right now. So, some of you have come from Titans, some of you watch Titans, some of you know who they are, some of you don't know who they are. Zach from Titans put a thing in Discord today, the Titans Discord, that they've decided, him and Meg have decided to go and do their own thing, okay? And they've decided to go and make their own hobby channel. And Saray asked me in the chat if he could promote it. Hey, I'll do it for you. Here's a link in chat to take you over to their stream, which goes live tonight. It's 12:30 UK time. I don't know what time that is in America. 4:30?
Yeah.
4:30. So I'm going to pin it right now as well. What I want you to do, 600 people in chat, go and raid the stream right now. Right? Just fill the comment section up right away and hit the sub button for them. It's a brand new channel. They're just starting out. So they're going to need to hit all the things that I'm trying to hit with the DMZ channel, the gaming channel that I'm doing right now. They're all going to try and hit that stuff. They need to hit the 1,000 subscriber count. They need to hit the 4,000 watch hours before they can even turn on monetization. Okay? So Zach's decided to go and do his own thing. Adrian's been like, can't wait to see what you can do. I'm the same. I think it's going to be fun and interesting. I think there's a video up already and a short. There you go. I was going to super chat it. You missed out. Well, I mean, don't worry, Saray. I'll wait. Want me to delete the post? I'm joking. I don't care. They're good people. Go check it out. I think that's it. Anything you want to add?
Considering my fact just now, which is factual, can we just spare a thought for Asbo?
Why?
How many kids does he have?
Oh my God, about 25.
So,
to be fair, though, he should have just tied a fucking knot in it.
if that is, what was it, 73 per child?
He's got like 9 kids, right?
I think so.
So he's close to 730.
Was literally just about to super chat about hobby collab and you beat me to it. Thanks Liam, superstar, love you, D.
And Saray says, I was going to super chat it, lol. Look, I've said this before, right? The whole content creator world needs to be supportive of each other. If you've not seen already, Kirioth's in the chat. I'd encourage all of you to go check out Kirioth. I did a podcast with him a couple of weeks ago. It was a ton of fun. We chatted for much longer than we expected to. The whole content, I joke about Hellstorm Mikey, but I want everybody to go check out Hellstorm Mikey and see what he's doing. And I joke about VT, but people should go check out Vanguard Tactics. And I collaborate with Titans, and like the whole content creator world is just better if we're all supporting and looking after each other. And I absolutely don't think you guys need to spend $15 to get others to come and join the channel. They're starting out, they're starting fresh. They've made the brave decision to step away from Titans and do their own thing. There we go. I think it's worth supporting. So hopefully you've all got to jump out 7:30 EST. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, I think it's called. 7:30 Eastern Standard, which means it's midnight 30 here if you want to check out that stream. Please, link not working. Other people are doing it. It's called, if you want to search for it, the Hobby Collab. Right, the link should work though. Okay, cool, beautiful. I think that covers everything. And there's nothing else you want to say apart from poor old Asbo with his 9 kids.
And how many questions?
The thing is,
73 times 9. What's that?
it's 730 minus 73, so minus 43, so 656. No,
Wow.
657, not 56.
He must be an encyclopedia of answers.
657 questions a day.
Fielding over 600 questions every day.
Which sounds terrible, chat, right? But I've got 2 kids, he's got 9 kids, which means he's had sex at least 7 more times than me. That's it from us here. Come and hang out with us tomorrow night, 7:30, for our live game of 40k. Raven Guard versus Worldy. It's me versus Joe. The National Treasure will be back on the stream. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.